Shruti, should we start?
Okay, we can start right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
Kunjan
yeah.
is also here, so we can do it together. Like Kunjan and you both can discuss things.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll begin with the very first thing. So since a poll was there and a lot of students wanted us to do a video on speaking and writing task 1 of academic writing. So we'll first talk about the speaking part. Can we have the first speaking slide? So speaking basically has 3 sections. It is of 15 minutes, 13 to 15 minutes, and there are 3 sections like I said. Section 1 is basically an introduction or a casual interview sort of a round wherein the examiner asks the student about various hobbies and interests, what the student has been doing, why does he intend to go to a particular country, let's say Canada, UK, US, anything. Section 2 basically, so all these kind of questions will be asked in the very first section, which is section 1. 5 to 6 questions will be asked and the student has to answer in 2 to 3 lines. That's it. No one word answers are to be given. Section, this is for 3 to 4 minutes, maximum 5 minutes. Section 2 is known as a cue card, wherein a topic is given to the student. The student has to analyze and make notes on that topic for 1 minute. So 1 minute is given to the student to prepare on the topic of cue card, and then the student has to speak for 2 minutes. A student will be judged, will be marked up and down based on the fluency, on the pronunciation, on the content skills, the way the applicant is using hand gestures. All these things will be accountable while a student is scored up or scored down. Last is the section 3, which we also call as follow-up questions or a two-way communication kind of a round, wherein whatever the topic was in section 2 in cue card. So here, as we can see, the topic is describe an important event. So questions related to section 2 cue card will be asked in section 3. So this is why we call it a follow-up question section or a two-way communication. The answers are to be given in 4 to 5 lines. Again, no one word or two word answers. Complete sentences are to be made. And this is basically for 4 to 5 minutes. Again, the marking schemes and the marking parameters are the same as mentioned earlier. So if we look at the very first slide, there are certain questions. Yes, there are certain questions in section 1. The other slide. Yes. So these are basic questions that an examiner wants to know about the applicant, about the student. The very first question is going to be, what is your full name? You can't just say Shruti Sharma. You have to say my full name is Miss Shruti Sharma. You can either address me as Shruti or Miss Sharma. This is the way. If you say it this way, you are more prone to get good marks. Otherwise, you'll just end up getting 5.5, 6, 6.5. That's it. You need to make full sentences. You need to impress the examiner. You need to use a lot of hand gestures as if you're telling a story to them. Try to interact more with the examiner. Try to build a rapport with them. Only then he or she will be giving you, a good score, a good band. Otherwise, you're just amongst those students who just come and just say something and they go. That's it. Which is approximately of a band level 6, 6.5. If you want to score more than that, you have to give outstanding, out of the box answers. So the very first question is, are you a student or do you work now? Would any of the student want to give the answer to this question? Anyone? Okay. So are you a student or do you work now? You can simply just say I am a student. But if you're saying this, you need to add, I am a student, I am pursuing final year BCom honors from so and so university, having a GPA of so and so till date. That's it. This is called a perfect answer, wherein you've given the relevant information that indirectly the examiner has asked you. Nobody wants to know a direct answer. Are you a student or do you work now? I work now. If you're saying I work now, you have to mention I work as a senior accountant or as an accountant or as a trainer in so and so company from past three years or past 4 years. You have to mention at least in 2 to 3 lines or answer of section 1 of every question individually has to be given. So why did you choose this job or course? You have to give relevant reason. If you say that you're doing BCom honors, you're in the final year, you have to mention why you've chosen to study this particular course of BCom. Why not any other course, let's say BBA or any course related to the field that you've mentioned. You have to have a proper relevant answer. Only then you'll be marked up in this question. Or if you're asked why did you choose this job, so if you say that yes, I'm working as an accountant, you should have a relevant answer. Why are you working as an accountant? After completing BBA or BCom, you may have got other job opportunities. Let's say of an analyst, of a data analyst, XYZ. Why did you choose to end up in an accounting job? You should have a relevant answer to that, and that answer should be genuine answer. The only reason that made you join that particular course will be the only reason that made you join that particular job. You can't mug up the answers. You can't cram up the answers from the internet. If any internet influence is seen in any of the answers, you're marked down for it. Okay. Talk about your daily routine. So a lot of my students basically ask me, do we have to mention the time that we get up at so and so time, we do this at so and so time? No, you just need to mention a daily routine. So in the quarantine days, our daily routine is we get up. Some of us have classes, online classes. Some of us have a lot of freelance work to do. We need to mention all those things. Sorry, we need to mention what do we do when we get up. Where do we go? Do we go out for a walk, or do we listen to music? Do we chit chat with a couple of friends? Do we send greeting messages to our friends? Do we greet our parents? After that, what do you do? What do you prefer to do? Do you take online classes of any subject? Do you have your colleges? Are you currently enrolled in any distance learning program? So then after completing the class, what do you want to do? You take a break, you take a nap, you eat something. You don't need to mention the time always. You just need to mention the activities that you do in your daily routine. Nothing else. And that again should be of at least 2 to 3 lines. Only then you'll be marked up in this question. Okay, so the third question is there anything about your course or job you would like to change? So I come across a lot of people. Piyush, are you there? Piyush, Rashid, anyone would like to answer this question? Samia? Okay. Is there anything about your course or job you would like to change? First of all, if you decide, you should not be answering anything negative. Not even a negative sentence, a negative word, or don't even try to frame a sentence in a negative way. Anything that is positive will always impress the examiner. Sorry. Just try to build a repo in the very beginning. After that, so these are just a set of questions that are asked by the examiner. If you don't leave clues behind, if the examiner is asking me, what are your hobbies? I list all my hobbies. I swim, I dance, I sing, I do this, I do that. And lastly, I say I do stamp collection. Now, this stamp collection is a hobby which is not a part of everyone's life. few handful of the individuals have stamp collection as their hobby. I am giving a clue to the examiner that talk more to me about stamp collection. I would like to enlighten you on that. So you have to leave clues behind. This is just a set pattern that is followed by the examiner. If he or she is bored, if you want to really build rapport with the examiner, try to talk more, engage more with the examiner. So the question is there anything about your course or job you would like to change? Do not answer in a negative way that there are a lot of things that I would like to change. The very first counter question from the examiner would be, why did you join it in the very first place? And I'm sure none of you would have an answer to that. So you will simply say that yes, I've just started off my career with a job of an accountant. There are certain things, there are certain activities that I do not like here. I would try to change it if possible by talking to the higher person in the hierarchy. If not, I would definitely want to change the job. And then you can list down those activities or those things that you don't like. Let's say it is very difficult for you to commute. You don't get cab facilities. Obviously, if something like this is there, you would want to talk to your department about it. So the answers should be very positive in a synchronized manner and in just 2 to 3 lines in the very first section. Who does most of the shopping in your household? So here the answer can be mother, father, younger sibling, elder sister, elder
whoever
brother, anybody.
earns the most.
That's correct. Yes, this. Then you'll have to mention that this is the person who is basically the person who does most of the household shopping in our house, and then you can list down the reasons. First is yes, this person earns the most. Second can be that yes, this person likes to go out for shopping more and more. So answers should be little interesting also, and again I'm saying it should be in symmetry. The content should be good. Don't think that the examiner is not listening to your content. Content is everything that is related for you to get a good score. What type of shopping do you like and why? If you say I like to shop for clothes, you should know why. If you say you like to shop for footwear or gadgets, these days a lot of youngsters, they prefer to buy gadgets. They should have an answer why. And the answer should be relevant, it should be genuine. Do not try to cram up, again I'm saying, and do not try to, mug up things. It becomes very difficult. There, if you forget one word, your entire answer gets hampered. Is shopping a popular activity in your country? Why not? So, if yes, you have to give the answer why. If it is a no, you have to give an answer why not. So, is shopping a popular activity in your country? Obviously, yes. The very first thing, you don't have to say yeah. It sounds very unprofessional. It sounds very casual. You have to say yes, of course. Shopping is a very popular. Try to begin your answer from the question itself. Sometimes, see, all of us cannot understand the question in one go, and we need some time to think on what we need to speak. There is one simple strategy in this. Try to frame your answer. The very first line of your answer should be from the question itself. The question is, what type of shopping do you like? The type of shopping that I like is shopping for clothes or shopping for gadgets, shopping for footwears, XYZ. Second is shopping a popular activity in your country? Yes, of course, shopping is a very popular activity in the country that I come from. You don't need to mention India because the examiner is aware that you're from India. That's it. If you do this, if you try to build up your first sentence from the question itself, you will get time to think about the second line, obviously, which will carry the most important information about the reason why you said yes or the reason why you said a no. So always try to begin your answer from the question itself so that you get time to think about what you have to speak next. Can be a reason, can be a point, can be anything. Also try to maintain your rate of speech from low to medium. Not exactly low, but should be medium to high. Not very high also, but try to maintain it medium. If you do so, if you're maintaining a medium rate of speech, you will again get time to think about what you need to speak. What type of shops do teenagers like best in your country? Again, these type of questions are realistic questions, are questions which we come across are basically situations which we come across in our day-to-day life. I'm sure people of around let's say 18 to 21 years of age, different they have different interests in shopping. It depends on age to age. A person who is above 60 or a person who is above 50 or lies between the age of 50 to 55 would have something else to shop, will obviously be unlike the shops that a person of 21 years of age wants to shop in. So try to make your answers, first of all, your answers should be very specific, to the point in the very first section, because you just have 2 to 3 lines to answer. Do not give one. The crux of this entire section 1 conversation is point number 1: do not speak answers in 1 word or 2 words. Make full sentences. Point number 2: listen to the question very carefully. Do not ask the examiner to repeat. Obviously, you cannot. Okay? If you do so, the examiner will have a set image of you in their mind that yes, this person was not attentive, because it's just you and the examiner in that one room. So there's no disturbance, everything is very silent. So you should maintain full concentration and full focus. Point number 3: do not hesitate. Do not fumble. Do not stammer. Just be very fluent. Just try to be fluent. Fluency basically comes when you have content. And if you have shortage of content, the most important point to keep in mind is try to start your sentence, the very first sentence, from the question itself. Point number 1. And second thing is maintain a rate of speech that is medium. Not very low, not very high. There are certain people who maintain low to medium rate of speech, but they do not have voice intonation in their voice. They speak everything in a very straight form. They do not have ups and lows in their speeches. So whenever you're speaking something important, try to focus more on that particular point, like we used to do in focusing syllables when we were young, the same way. So again, then you're particularly marked on every section of speaking individually, and then an overall speaking score is given to you. So you need to be good in every section to get a good score in the entire speaking module. Any doubts so far? Anybody, any doubts, please feel free to ask me. Anybody has any doubts in section 1?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to section 2, which is known as a cue card. Section 2, can we have section 2 on the screen, please? Okay. Section 2 basically is known as a cue card. The time duration for this section is 4 to 5 minutes. Roughly 3 to 5 minutes, cannot be extended. The examiner will read out the question to you, which is this question. It has 3 to 4 sub questions as well, and you need to answer these sub questions line wise. Try to build up a storyline in this. It is not mandatory for any applicant to speak the question. Speak it in a symmetry. So if it says the first question is when it happened, it is not essential that you answer this question first. You can answer what happened also in the very first part. Try to create a storyline in this. Try to use more of hand gestures when you're talking about, a particular life incident or a life event or anything related to something that you've already experienced. The question says, describe an important event in your life. You don't have to cook stories in this. I'm sure something or the other thing must have happened to everyone. So after the examiner reads the whole question, the examiner will be reading the question first, like describe an important event in your life. You should say when it happened, who you were with, what happened, and explain why you feel it was important. After the examiner stops, your 1 minute to prepare for this question would begin by the clock. So the moment 1 minute is given to you, the moment the examiner stops and takes a pause after reading the question, she'll tell you or he'll tell you that 1 minute has begun. You have time to jot down important points. That is when. So everybody can see the screen. Okay, I'm assuming that yes, everyone can see the screen. So it is written. You should say when it happened. Now, while making points, so these are the sub points. When it happened, who you were with, what happened, and explain why you feel it was important. So in front of all these questions, you will write the answers in 1 or 2 words, not the whole thing, not the whole sentence. Do not write stories, do not fill pages, you will not have that much time. In 1 minute, you will just be very quick and maintain a very fast pace of handwriting of your writing. Write answers to every question in front of the question. When it happened, 2004. Who you were with, siblings. What happened? I was deciding on which subjects to take in class 12th. Why you feel it was important? Because that was the base of my career, the beginning of my career. That's it. These are the main points that I would want you people to write when you're given 1 minute to prepare for the cue card. After you write and the examiner says stop, now you have to speak on the topic for 2 minutes. During that time, the paper on which you have the question and the paper on which you've written the key points will be in front of you. Now, since you have written those main points, you can see, you can take a glance of it once or twice. I would advise not to do that, but if you still want to do, just once or twice, not more than that. It doesn't give a good impression to the examiner because those are the key points that you have written on the paper. You should not be seeing it again because now it is there in your head. So when she says now you have 2 minutes to speak, just start speaking. It's not mandatory that you have to speak this sub question wise. That first question is when it happened, I'll say this. No, you can say an important event that took place in my life was when I was deciding on to which subjects I needed to take in class 10th. Class 11th is basically a higher level of our schooling. So it is very important for an individual to decide on which subjects should an individual take so that the career growth takes place, or I'll be able to get a good college. You should start something like this. And then you can say I did my class 10th in the year 2011 or 2012, and after that I was muddled, I was confused. I decided to talk it out with my parents, with my friends, with my relatives, and ultimately I decided that yes, if I become a doctor, I'll be paid more in the profession, I'll be able to do good deeds while staying in the profession, I'll be able to travel more, I'll be able to communicate with people, with patients more and more. I'll come across several new diseases while having hands-on experience. So all these kind of things basically attract the examiner. Something logical, something sensible, nothing should be illogical. Again, I'm saying don't think that the examiner is not listening. Everything is, he or she is listening everything, and everything is being recorded. Then okay, so in this basically you have to basically take care of your fluency, of your pronunciation, the way you speak, voice intonation, voice modulation should not your sentence should not be flat. It should have ups and downs, lows and highs should be there. So if I said that the most important event that happened in my life was when I decided to play a tournament, interstate tournament of football. So this is an important event, interstate tournament of football. That means your team was representing your state in the interstate competitions. So in this particular, while saying these three four words, you should have a high pitch. When I'm saying high pitch, it doesn't mean you have to shout. You just have to, speak a little high than the other words. That's it. So the crux. One more thing. So since there are 4 questions in this particular question, So there is one question, describe an important event in your life, and then you have 4 sub questions. The only way to get a good score or to speak in this cue card for 2 minutes is if you divide your time properly. You have 4 questions, devote good 30 seconds on every question. You will be able to complete 2 minutes. The examiner will stop you there and then, and you can start with the next section. Try to complete 30 seconds on every sub question.
Shruti,
Yes.
one of the student who Tran, she's from Vietnam and she has a question for us. Like, so we have 1 minute to prepare, but sometime I really like she really get confused and don't know what to write to say. How we can deal with this? So when she has limited time, like I'm supposing, like she is pointing out to the question when she has a very limited time, what she just have 1 minute. So how she can frame out the answer, the bullet points, and
Okay.
yeah.
I got it. So, a good question again. This is not the problem with a handful of people. This is a problem. This is a problem with half of the population of every country. We are humans. We have a tendency of, not able to understand what to speak when we are there in that particular uh, situation. First of all, try to read more. It is very important that a person appearing for any prerequisite, first of all, reading is a very good habit. Keep on reading blogs, articles, news, anything, small short articles, long articles, whatever you like. If you like to read articles on lifestyle, read on that. Just don't stop reading. Keep on reading as much as you can. When you read, you have content. When you have content, you would never hesitate to make points. Your idea generation would be fast. It will not be slow. So one very good advice that I would like to give to all the students who are listening to me or who will be watching the video later on is try to get into a habit of reading. This is basically a quarantine time wherein you can read, at least for half an hour in the whole day. Reading is a must. When you read an article or a news, if you're reading 1,000 words, at least 300 to 400 words would be there in your mind. Main idea, the main gist, crux will be there in your mind that what I was reading about. You'll never be able to run out of words, or you'll never be speechless in all these kind of exams. You'll always have something or the other thing to speak. Very important, get into a habit of reading. Just read anything. You don't even need to search anything. Open Quora.com, open blogspot.com. Keep on reading Times of India short articles that they give. Read the editorial page of Times of India. The speaking tree is there. There are a lot of things that you can read. Try to start with reading short chunks of information. That will be really beneficial. Idea generation is slow because it is not just with you, it is with everyone. Once in the lifetime you feel that you don't have words to speak on a particular topic, but this happens only when you don't have the content. If you want to build up good content, you have to start using good words. You'll find good words from the articles that you read. You'll find good content from the articles that you read. Just from today onwards, start reading anything.
Okay, we have another question. The second question is how we can connect this sentence to another sentence, because sometimes I don't know what to say to change the sentence in my speaking. So probably he's talking about connectors and the flow of the idea. So if you can shed some light on it.
Is how we can connect this sentence to another sentence. Say, change the sentence. Okay. So, linkers and connectors are two things. Linkers, connectors, and phrases are three things that are very important in the language, especially in English. Linkers and connectors are basically words that we use to connect. Linkers are basically words that we use to connect two sentences, like although, that, basically conjunctions. And connectors are words by which we basically begin a sentence within, if you're in the middle of a paragraph, or if you're in the middle of a conversation. For example, let's say I'm talking to somebody. See, I went to shopping today. I got this, I got that. Moreover, I got a beautiful accessory for my house. So this word moreover means I had something more to share, which I did. I got all these things. Moreover, I got something for my house as well. This is the connector. Linkers are two sentences. So without using a comma, if you want to join two sentences, you'll use a linker word. Link word. Like although, though, that. All these kind of words. We use also as linker also, and also as a connector as well. We can do it both ways. So let's say if I'm talking to somebody and that somebody asks something to me and I don't know the answer. I am blank. So we have two options. First is we leave the conversation, but obviously it doesn't sound good that we're in the middle of the conversation with a person and we don't have a clue about what to speak. In that case, what you can do is again get into a habit of reading. I'm sure reading will first of all try to solve this problem, but if you still don't have anything, you can always say that I am not aware of this and this particular situation. Please enlighten me about it. I would like to know more about it. Kindly tell me more about it, as I am unaware of it. You can say all these kind of sentences which will basically help the person to understand that you want to actually know more about what that person is talking, and he would obviously not think that you don't know anything about this particular topic. So you can do it both ways. But again, if you read, you will never land yourself up in this particular situation. Any other questions? Any questions? Okay. So,
Should we begin with the image description now, the report writing?
So there's one more section left, the section 3. Yeah.
This one?
So this is section 3. We basically have two names for this: two-way communication and a follow-up section or follow-up question section. In this, whatever topic you had in section 2. So the topic in section 2 today was describe an important event that took place in your life or that happened to you. You will be asked, so this is not section 3. It's the other slide. Yes. So you'll be asked questions about various events, any topic that has come in section 2, cue card. You'll be asked questions related to the cue card topic. So the cue card was describe an important event. The questions in section 3 is what days are important in your country. So again, 26th January, 15th August, these are all important events. You have to answer questions in section 3. Please note, you have to answer questions in section 3 individually in 4 to 5 lines. I would advise that please do not stop till the time the examiner doesn't raise a hand or doesn't ask you to stop. Please understand, if the examiner is wanting you to stop, that means yes, you spoke well. If you stop yourself, you don't know when 2 minutes are going to complete in section 2. It's the examiner who will tell you, please don't stop till the time the examiner doesn't ask you to stop. So in all these type of questions, so all these 5 type of questions, you have to answer in 4 to 5 lines. Try to be logical. Try to actually give examples related to the real life. So what days are important in your country? List down the major important days. 15th August, 26th January is there. You have Diwali as well. All the festivals that take place. Why it is important to have national celebrations. It brings the country together. So you can also mention that when I was young, I used to experience a lot of events taking place in my school related to. So you can list down the names of the festivals or the occasions. There was 15th August was there, and a lot of celebrations used to take place. You can also mention about what used to happen. Try to make it more realistic. Try to relate it more to your own life while speaking. There are certain words that you can use. If you want to summarize something, let's say you've said a lot of things and now you want to just say to summarize. Rather than saying to summarize, you can say to recapitulate. I would like to say that. Yeah, to recapitulate, it is true to say that. So to recapitulate is a word that is better than to summarize, or I would like to conclude by saying that it's better than that. Then there's a word called multifarious, which means variety, several things, several different things. Then there's a word called plethora. Again, we have a plethora of choices to choose from. So you should use these kind of words. This is not high-end vocabulary. These are not fancy words. These are words so that you know these words and you can use it, in your speaking section more and more. These words will be beneficial for you in writing section 2 also. Writing task 2, essay writing. So in section 3, try to answer all the questions in 4 to 5 lines. Give little gap. So not just gap. Try to answer the question as per whatever the examiner has asked. Sometimes we go out of context and we don't know what to say. Just stop there. It is better to get marked as like band 1 or band 2 rather than getting a negative marking or rather than getting a 0. Just stop there. Don't let your marks get deducted. And again, get into a habit of reading more and more. Read more and more. Practice speaking with somebody at home or with a trainer or in front of the mirror. Your communication skills will really be better. We can begin with the task 2. Anyone has any questions related to speaking can ask me right now. Any question related to speaking, because this is the end of speaking module of IELTS.
Ma'am, hello.
Yes.
Will there be any difference between general speaking and academic speaking?
No. The questions will almost be same, but yes, the examiners expect the IELTS general training candidates to be little more fluent, little more professional in speaking than the academic ones. Because academic ones are basically going there for a particular course, UG, PG, but they expect general training people, since they have a lot of experience, to talk more. So they should focus more on the content than the academic ones.
Okay.
As such, there is no other difference.
Okay.
Any other question?
Piyush, you are doing academic or general?
General.
General, okay.
Any questions from any student?
Samya, Mr. Rashid, any one of you have any question? Mr. Raza?
Hi. Hello.
Any questions?
No question. Yes. I have one question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I have one question. Is that how can we manage the time to talk, because we only have 2 minutes to talk, but sometimes we cannot manage the time to talk, because sometimes we talk really long, and maybe sometimes we don't have know exactly what to say at that. Is that how can we manage the time in the speaking we speak?
In section 2, in the cue card section, you're talking about the cue card section 2?
Yeah, in section 2 or
Okay.
maybe in section 3.
Okay. So in section 3, there is no time bound. You are not time bound in section 3. Section 3, you have to speak. You have to speak on every question in 4 to 5 lines. There is no time boundation on in section 3. Yes, for section 2, I would like to say that there is a single line describe an important event. Then there are 3 to 4 questions. First question, when it happened. Second question, why it happened. Third question, again something. Then fourth question. You have to speak for 2 minutes. Try to give 30 seconds. Try to speak for 30 seconds on every sub question. This will help you to manage your time of 2 minutes. Hello?
Oh, thank you.
You understood? Try to give 30 seconds. Try to talk on every question for 30 seconds. It is not important to talk continuously. You can take little small pauses. Try to practice with somebody who can give you feedbacks. Only then you'll be able to improve your speaking.
You
And
can
try to get into a habit of reading more and more.
and you can do these sessions with us on regular basis so that we can have better. Should we move on to the writing now?
Okay, so there's a question: can we use simple words, or it's mandatory to use high vocabulary? So, Akib, here I would like to tell you that it is always good to use simple words till the time you do not repeat those words. What I mean to say is, sometimes, let's say I have used, there's a question and I have used the word important. I'm saying it is very important to do this, that, this, and that. I've used the word important once. Now, if I'm saying something in section 2, I want to use the word important again. If I do it, it is called repetition of word. And if I do it, my band will be deducted. It is better to get into a habit of, taking out synonyms, using synonyms of words that we know will be used more in writing or in speaking. By not using important, we can use critical, crucial, we can use vital, significant, prominent, all these kind of words. So when I say these words, these are not high-end vocabulary or fancy words. These are simple words. So to prevent repetition of a particular word, I would advise you to speak or write simple words while giving any examination, because the examiner is also a human being. It is not important that the examiner would know all the fancy or high-end words that you use. So try to be very simple and logical while speaking and while writing.